in this course, let's talk about marketing. Could be a very general term, but I think just in a nutshell, to sum it up, it's, building things in and around your artists as a manager in order to expose them and gather people to buy in, right? So marketing is, in the 17 years that I've been in this business, the concept and the practices of marketing has changed so much. Back when I started, it was like big shit to get a billboard in Times Square, and that was considered, something that really drove traffic to record sales. And if you had a song on the radio and advertised on the radio, that was the space to be. And street teams and shit. It was so many other things that's kind of not thought of right now, or you shouldn't be thinking about it right now as managers, right? People still do those things, and I feel like, for me, those are when you have an artist at a level and you got money to spend and you just want to make a perception type feel or look, go buy these billboards or this space up. When it comes to really having transaction value, those practices that were used in the beginning were archaic to what you have to do right now as a manager. Right now, all you should be paying attention to is the digital world. You got a cell phone, this is where everybody's tapped into. Everybody is here, and you have to meet people here. So this is where most people spend most of their time. Even television commercials, like that was a form of digital marketing. You know how dope it was to land television commercials and things of that nature back in the day when I did that with some of my clients early on. Now, if we get it, it's great. When it comes to, which is the ultimate purpose of marketing when you talk about your clients, right? Exposure, reaching a large audience, their digital marketing is the way that you should be thinking of and forward thinking first and foremost when you think about marketing, just because everyone is here. Now, that could look like a bunch of different things. And one great thing about us as my team, as a management team, digital marketing wasn't a strength of ours, but we identified that where the times were going. We saw the music business changing. So we knew that we had to bring somebody in-house as a partner in order to head that department, right? And that was the great Brian Calhoun, who works with us, been working with us for probably 14 years. He leads that. He leads digital strategy and the person that's waking up every day to think about all the new things that's going on in the DSP, digital service provider, Spotify, Apple, Tidal, in that world, and everywhere else that has to do with the digital universe. Whether it's what's now NFTs, it's forever evolving. Just because it's in the digital space, you have to have somebody to pay attention to that. Or as a manager, you need to be figuring that out. Because that's the way that you're going to get your most transaction in fans and growing your artists. Now, what does that look like? And how do I do it, you ask? I got you. Okay. It's a lot of different ways. You got the bare minimum. You don't have any money, right? You have the bare minimum. You have social media. You have TikTok. You have Instagram. You have Facebook. These are ways that your fans can have a direct relationship with your artist. The most important thing for a fan, and for you to understand as a manager, is for a fan to feel like when you really got a real fan, what the word means is you want to get to a point where they feel like they have a personal relationship with your artist. Like literally somebody talk about your artist like they're going in like they sister or their cousin or their brother. So that's the level you want to get on. How do you get that, you ask? Got an answer. You make sure your artists stay engaged. A lot of artists, especially older ones, who didn't start in the social media era. Luckily, the youth, and you find some now that don't even do it. But that's the wave, bro. That's the wave. You have to be consistent, and you have to figure out a way to get your fans to fuck with you and like their family. As you're building out teams in your digital marketing space, I think some of the important people, especially if you have an artist that's not as engaged with social media, is a social media manager. That's just somebody who's posting for you, coming up with hashtags, different type things. A content creator. So someone is as seasoned in graphics, cameramen, because I'm telling you, on one hand, you got to make sure your artist is engaged and be consistent, but you also want a variety of different ways that you can engage with your artist. So having a camera around them all day, every day, having a cameraman, a videographer, graphic person, and then a person that's just managing all the socials pages are essential to have on your team these days. Because it's something that's never ending. Content is key. Consistency is key. Just because not only does it help your artist's fan base stay engaged with them, but which I said on another episode, there's so many people trying to do music right now. There's so much music being uploaded every day. So you have to figure out how to be consistent and deliver things in a way that's fresh and that's new, and to keep them engaged. And speaking of engaged, we talk about a company that one thing that's popped up lately that one of our clients kind of maybe put on a map where the music business started to look at was influencer marketing, right? TikTok, important, super important these days. Figure out how to use all these. As a manager, you got to figure out how to get your artists to use these platforms. It may not be, I'm not saying if you have an artist that doesn't do dances, it doesn't have to be a dance challenge, but figure out how to best practices on TikTok, Twitch. It's so many platforms, right? You have to be engaged on how to use these tools. Influencer campaign marketing, as far as the digital side, which is automatically goes in our budgets these days. This basically the new form of street team. That is the new street team. Digital influencers is the street teams of the day. Street teams' jobs of the past were to pass out flyers, post up, purchase, you've seen stuff on your cars, get out there and put and market an artist hand to hand, right? So now we got these digital influencers, these YouTubers that's doing dances, creating challenges for your clients and for your artists based off of their lane and the audience that they've built to pop it off, to pop your artists off. Lil Nas X's biggest song ever in history came from himself starting a challenge, but it got picked up by a lot of influencers and kids, and now TikTok is a place where every label goes to see what's next, because because, the value of digital marketing, and this is the science of it all, and I could kind of close here with it to kind of sum it all up. And it's the why I'm saying this is where you got to be paying attention to. The value of digital marketing is analytics. We have at our disposal right now, managers, you have data. You can look at your audience and see exactly who your fans are, where they are, and a lot of different platforms give it to you, Spotify, Instagram. They give you these. It's your job. Or if you're not doing it, you put somebody in place to pay attention to all those analytics, because that's going to allow you to, now we're talking about digital advertising, summing it all up. That's going to allow you to, you could take your Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and look at that audience all in one, and you could see, okay, my audience is women to these levels, ethnic groups, and then you could go and look at, it's a science to right now where you can literally look at all the, or start to think about, okay, what does all these women 21 to 25 have in common, right? Oh, they all love Rihanna. So what I need to do is, if they love my artists, if I got 75% of my artists' fan base is 21 to 25 women, and let's look at that 75%, right? And see what they all have in common. Oh, Rihanna. They all have Rihanna in common. Then I need to now target Rihanna fans 21 to 25 and run a banner of my artist's new song, or roll us before her video plays by digital advertising space. This is where you spend money at now, not on billboards, right? You spend money running ads on guaranteed fan bases that that's really gonna fuck with your artist. So that's the strategy that you have to have now moving forward. I'm just saying this. Let me stop myself, because the digital marketing evolves so much that it may be a new thing by the time we release this episode, right? NFTs was not a popular thing 5 months ago. But now the music business is caught on, and now everybody's thinking about how can we use that tool in a digital space in order to market and enhance our artists. So ultimate goal is pay attention to that. When you're spending money, you don't spend money on the old traditional way. Spend money within the digital universe. You have analytics, you have the tools. You can dissect your audience. Compare that audience to other things that other people like, and go advertise and run your artist campaigns in those spaces. My artists like Nikes. Let me go run this ad on Nike's page. You think of it that way, now you get organic followers that you can build on and that you could grow your artist community. So that's marketing for me, and how we look at it as a team, of what we target first, and we look at it. Everything else is extra. All of it's important. Radio is important at a certain period of time, but I'm not spending money on it at first. Billboards is cool. I'm not spending money on that first. Merchandise, super dope. Talk about that in another class. But digital marketing is where it's at when you talk about marketing overall. So as we're talking about marketing, right, and starting to put together and roll out marketing in and around your artists, you have to formulate a plan, the marketing plan. And within that plan, managers, you got to think about, don't just limit yourself to thinking about just the music. You have to think outside the box and make sure that you encompass everything within the rollout, because you're going to want to be soliciting this other places outside of just the music space and the places that's going to put the music out. There is the traditional models that you're going to include, or whether it's in the digital models. All in one, you want to add those, but you also want to make sure that you spell out in these plans how your client will impact culture, because culture is everywhere. Culture is in every single sector. And what does that look like, you ask? I got it. That's your social media. You know, use the Instagram stats, the Facebook stats. They'll that's what people are paying attention to, those numbers. That's why it's important to utilize social media, because companies now are looking at those things as selling points. That's something that you could go into a room with an advertising when you're talking about marketing campaign and you want Pepsi to support this song or this project, and you already have the analytics that so many of your fans love Pepsi because you have that at your disposal right now. You package the music up with that piece of, I can directly tap 8 million of my followers love Pepsi. Pepsi is going to be important for you to buy into this marketing campaign. So when you're thinking about your marketing plan, you're building it out, you have to think that way in strategy. So the ultimate goal, the end goal of a great marketing plan is to make sure that at the end of the day, your artist is reaching a consumer, no matter where it's at, whether it's in the music sector or through some other vertical, is reaching a consumer and building it, bringing them in to make sure that they feel like they love them and they're personable and they want to buy into everything they do. Ultimate goal. What does that look like, you ask? Beehives, the Barbs, and also whoever Taylor Swift fan base is, who I think is also get busy and wild and stuff. That's what you want to have, because not only does that increase your sales, right, and everything else, and gives you an army of give you your own army to promote your music or whatever you got going on, to promote anything you're selling. It also gives you longevity. It also gives you longevity in the game. So that's the ultimate goal of using strategic marketing to have people buy in. That's the ultimate level of buy-in that you want. Because if you have that, you could be 60 years old still touring from somebody that you've gained from bringing them in. And you have to be consistent with making them feel like they're part of your family. One of the more recent marketing strategies that was super successful was to creating the biggest song in the history of music was Lil Nas X, Old Town Road. So I think we started as a company managing Lil Nas right when the song was bubbling and getting there. And I don't know if audience, y'all remember, they with the country community was kind of hating on him and wasn't putting him on the charts and saying this is not real country. And, so what do you do? Okay, country fans, country music, you're going to be against this? Let me put one of y'all all-time favorite country artists on this song as a remix to force it down your throat, basically. And it worked. And it worked like genius. I mean, it made it the biggest song ever in the history of music. So that was dope. And speaking of Lil Nas X, to his genius, and the marketing plan recently, which has Montero as number one song in the world 8 weeks consistently in a row. It was shock factor in that video. A lot of people didn't understand what it was gonna be. This world is filled with a lot of hypocrites. A lot of people who claim they're very holy and sit back and criticize and judge people Lil Nas X, we decided to call those people out or ruffle their feathers. I felt like that was either going to be a horrible idea that could be very detrimental, or the most genius idea, and could have been very smart. Because basically you are telling people, hey, they gay people should go to hell. You say it anyway, even though you're supposed to be this great person. Let me paint the picture for you. Really ruffle the feathers, But it takes a lot of confidence to do that as an artist, man. Nas is so strong and such a troll and so witty, in a way, as an artist, to really take those type of risks and take those type of chances, because that was a big risk, but it worked. Like, that song probably may be bigger than, has a possibility to be bigger than anything that he's ever done. Like I said, 8 weeks #1 in the world when it dropped, in a row, consistently. So listen, future managers out there, just being a manager, you don't really have to come up with these marketing ideas. I do want to get that out there, and I want to point that as a manager, your job is to go find the best people to help grow your artists. So if marketing is not your forte, I'm not the best at it. I come with some great ideas, but that's not, I'm not hugely, I don't think that's my biggest strength. But I play different roles in different situations. Sometimes I have great ideas, that could shake up the world and bring a song, a rollout, a campaign to life. Sometimes, an artist may come with you with something, and you just got to figure out how to facilitate that and bring that idea to life. Wayne getting into skating, that wasn't my idea. I knew nothing about skateboarding. And for me, the first time he said that, I thought, what about touring? What if you fall down and break your leg? Like, that's going into revenue. But when he invested in it, it was my job to figure out how to build in that world and how to use what he loved at that point and build campaigns around it. And when we was on tour, we built a skate park on tour, on stage. We built a clothing line based in and around skate culture. I had him on X Games and on ESPN, in that world, in that extreme sports world, because that's what he was loving to do anyway, So your job is to, if you now don't have the idea, right, and you can't come up with the Montero idea or Old Town Road to, let me put on, you should put on this cowboy hat and do this dance. If you don't come up with those ideas, as a manager, your role is to facilitate them when your artists come up with them, or definitely have people on your team that's creative in thought, to help spark ideas to make your artist stand out.